The Legend of Zelda series and its music thereof are so intricately tied together it's hard to imagine one without the other. The various temples and palaces of each game are where all the combat and puzzles come into their own, but it's often the music that's their most identifiable part. It ends up playing a large role in establishing the area's atmosphere, as generally the dungeon themes are the most creative songs due to their using more unique instrumentation. These are my 5 favourite songs to suit each dungeon. The Wind Temple was a bizarre dungeon, combining new and familiar elements into a fine, cylindrical lump of Zelda. The conflicting calm and creepy sides of this song play well to the strengths of the gameplay. The undercurrent is brought about by constant repetition and echoey of a breathy alto flute with a melody carried by a more primitive recorder. It's all very soothing and almost Pikmin-esque, but an alternate, creepier vibe is given by the pulse of the triangle and surging tremolo strings, sounding like an approaching swarm of mosquitoes before quickly fading out. The theme of the Wind Temple is an odd song, but fits the dungeon and being the final main temple of the game with its comforting yet haunting undertones. I can't really say much for capturing the complex theming and subtle nuances of each area here because it's Zelda 2. You stab stuff and it's fun. I guess the palace theme fits all this well because it's crazy intense and one of the catchiest melodies in the franchise. It begins with a series of grand chords descending before a melody is established high on the synth, relying on offbeat rhythms to give a sense of dynamic movement such as those later when the piece changes speed. Clapping sounds emphasize important beats which all build on the general fist-pumping goodness. This song is just frantic and awesome and I love every second. Having Vati in the Picori gave Minish Cap a very different feel to it, but finishing the game off with Vati's takeover of Hyrule Castle was a nice touch. It's all familiar to anyone who's played Link to the Past, but now much scarier with dark nuts, descending string slides, and purple. The lovely organ returns from the Super Nintendo, playing moody chords heralded by a timpani introduction and a powerful brass figure. A snare drum keeps time, adding a military element to fit the combat of the place, and plucked cellos and double basses add the sinister accompaniment to match the evil dripping from the castle's walls. It's a very ominous piece, much of the reason why I like it so much, but the major modulations near the end break the darkness and build up nicely to the final boss climax of the game. I would say it's my favourite final dungeon theme, but that's a tough category to win. Majora's Mask is beautiful and twisted, and for the Dungeon of Opposites, it's incredible to see all of its ideas blend together in beautiful harmony. Light and dark, heaven and hell, and most notably within the music, hope and despair. The theme of the Stone Tower Temple is powerful stuff. The clear, precise, on-beat rhythms in the drum begin the theme before a low chorus of voices hum in the background. This monotonous undertone to the whole song, along with the earthiness of the bassoons, is the desperation, grief, and ever-present threat of death. Then, high recorders and a harpsichord piece break through, but are constantly replaced, representing both the brevity and willpower of life. For a brief moment, life overcomes death as the low instruments drop out entirely, leaving only ambient wind before the cycle repeats. A brilliant song to fit a brilliant dungeon, and a lovely example of how to merge the worlds of music and level design seamlessly to craft an experience beyond anything either could accomplish on their own. I've said before that I dislike how much reused content found its way into Link Between Worlds, but I've also said before that what new content there was truly wonderful. And let me say right here, right now, Lorule Castle is fucking sweet. The theme opens with dramatic and fast strings, giving way to a rapid and disgustingly earwormy woodwind melody. That's then taken over by clarinet and more strings with a more playful offbeat rhythm. The two tunes begin to overlap, alternating major and minor to reflect the ultimate clash of Hyrule versus Lorule and good versus evil. I love the escalating tension as the theme evolves the more you progress up the tower, creating the ultimate suspense before the grand finale, and the idea to incorporate part of the melody of Hyrule Castle played in reverse was a stroke of utter genius to harken back to both the first dungeon and the adventure of Link to the Past to give this game's conclusion a sense of utterly satisfying finality to it. The instrumentation to the dynamics all scream the passion Zelda stands for, and for being a song that never fails to put a smile on my face and remind me just why I love this franchise so dearly, there could be no other contender for number one. Thank you for watching, how very kind of you. Leave your responses in the comments section because video responses are just so pre-2013. Whoa, retro callback anyone? If you want to see more of gaming music top 5s handled in less than 10 minutes, check my Quick Music 5 on Pokemon Champion themes, link on the left. If you want more Zelda, top 5 handheld Zelda games, link on the right, or for something completely different, my cracking review of Wallace and Gromit in Project Zoo, link in the central. Once again, thank you and good night.